My name is Michael Craper and this is the Earthquake Reflection Group. We used to have Cam Scott, who used to work for the City Council, and we linked in with him to share our ideas about the rebuild of our city. We also link in with Sarah, Red Cross, and we had people from Civil Defence come and talk to us.
My name's Cam Scott and I previously was the Disability Advisor for the Christchurch City Council. Currently I'm employed by the University of Canterbury as the team leader for the Disability Resource Service. Well, the Earthquake Group was formed initially because one of the key learnings was that people with intellectual disabilities had been missed out and they hadn't told their stories, and people hadn't heard their stories, and it was also, in terms of demographics, it was a whole group of society that didn't have their say. And from a civil defence point of view, you know, they didn't have the data to better plan for people with intellectual disabilities. From there it developed into how to keep safe, how to make good decisions, and then it developed into how do we get a emergency kit going, and from there they also became an advocacy group, so they shared their learnings with other people with disabilities.
If an earthquake was to happen, Michael, what would you do?
As part of the Earthquake Group, I've actually presented Shaken But Not Stirred workshop all about Christchurch after the February earthquake, and I've never seen a room of people so shocked to see what we've been going through.
In the second earthquake, in the 6.3 on the 22nd of February in 2011 on Tuesday at 12:51, I was on the bus on the Orbiter on Island Road. I walked home and then suddenly I saw the tree swaying.
I was inside a building, a 5-storey building, but I was on the 3rd floor, which was really shaking, you know, like the whole building was shaking. We actually saw the old Jones's building, which is next door, actually come down.
You went into the red zone and seeing this buildings crumple like dirt just falling down. Like where I am now, there used to be a house here, and you see a building fall down, it just crumbles.
I was actually frightened when they go to the top of me. The building, concrete.
So I was worried about Mum.
I was a bit shaken, yeah. It took a while to sort of settle down after we were out of the building. The staff were very helpful. They got us down the stairs quickly. They put us in Victoria Park for about an hour and a half, which was all right. And then when things settled down a wee bit, they took us to Hagley Park. We were told that we may not go home that night. About 11:30, they decided to shift us out to Burnside High School. And by the time we got out there, it was 12 o'clock. And the gym was full of people. It was a fairly scary night because there was still shaking. It was shaking every half an hour.
We found out we were going to Auckland. We thought we'd been about a few days, ended up being 2 weeks.
We had an earthquake and can't do much about that, but to stand around now, there's a bridge over, I'm looking at now, twisted in half. And it's just heartbreaking.
The challenge is to get on with my life in the future and and build my life up into happiness.
I suppose I've been through it now and I understand it a lot more, and when we do get a shake it's not as effective like it was.
So you feel like you can cope with things a little bit better?
What life throws at me, yeah.
It's great that people with disabilities are educating other people with disabilities, so they are possibly more likely to remember the lessons learned as if they were just to come to another function and someone was to preach to them about what they need. I think it's that that lived experience and that shared experience that will help the guys remember.
You need to be prepared, really prepared, for a natural disaster. You could be days without food, you could be days without water. You really need a barbecue as well, or something that you can cook with that is not electrical. You need to have decent bedding, just in case you had to sleep outside.
A torch, candles, a radio.
You need to have a decent first aid box with all the medical stuff in it.
Get to know your neighbours, which is really important, because a lot of people don't know their neighbours.
If you don't prepare the disaster, you get frustrated, and I don't like getting frustrated.
I think the group's been very inspirational on many levels. I think planners and civil defence people, right down to friends and family, have realised what a resource these people have been and can be, and I think it's all about that ongoing work of shifting from a deficit model of disability into a strengths-based approach where people can be valued and they can be part of the solution and are not seen as just as a problem.
After the earthquake I had to move out of my flat, and now living home with my parents and my two brothers, and I lost my job. Finding a flat nowadays is far too expensive, and you lose all the independence that you used to have when you used to go flatting.
My life now in Christchurch has changed, because now being here, skill-wise in Shauna Street, it's a good place, but I don't really like it much. Like, we used to be in Gloucester Street, right in the middle of town. There's more local shops around, the square itself. Where here you don't really get that. And plus with the buses as well, it's also difficult. It's so far away now. You're getting 2 buses out.
2 buses to go to work now like I used to. I used to walk there and walk back. I miss the exercise.
I am now standing at the last remains of which used to be Kuritu Park. It was where I used to do training with Special Olympics New Zealand, and because now we don't have an artificial track, we had to train at Burnside High School on grass, and then every time when it rains it's always muddy, and we can't train on muddy grass.
It has affected my whole life, as in my attitude. I've been through a breakup. I've been bullied, and I just can't get over it, and still. I kept on thinking to myself, is this because of the earthquake? now I'm just feeling like I'm grumpy, I'm angry, I lash out at people that love me, that hurts. I'm going to get counselling just to get some closure on a few things.
As after the earthquake, I went and saw a woman called Cameron, if I say this right, Adahua. If I said that wrong, I do apologise. A counselling service, and she helped me decide, look, financially, emotionally and physically. She said, you're best to go back to your parents and live there so you feel a bit safe. You can talk about absolutely anything in counselling if you're stressed or have anxiety problems or anything like that. They can really help you.
Sure, there's been a lot of loss and a lot of heartache and a lot of change, but on the whole, the feeling from the group was that it was really positive change in the end, and they were surprised at where they ended up.
Since the earthquake, I've had more contact with my mum, but what I'd really like to get in contact is with my sister and my brother. I'm hoping to write to my sister sometime today.
My neighbours and I, we get together quite a bit, and if they meet you in the street or something like that, they might come up to you and talk. That didn't used to happen before, no.
I think it's actually brought a lot of work colleagues together. We come together as one family, you know, we've got a good, strong, common bond with all the staff here at CPIT.
People more help each other now than they did before. Because tragedy makes them feel they need people.
Christ is just trying to rebuild, and I think that's what we need to focus on, is the rebuild process. And I think that's going really well.
I'd really like to see what it would look like in Christchurch in 20 years' time.
If the city comes back to get it, and they're back to nice again, I'd like to get a building in the city here.
Dreams for the future. Well, I've only got another 8 years of work, and after that I'm sort of going to relax a lot more.
I'd like to fly out to London.
I want to have a family reunion because I haven't done that for a long time.
And I've got heaps of plans for the future. You know, I'm planning for my wedding.
Planning, all I can dream is that my dance company, Jolt, I could be running my own class, hopefully.
What's Jolt?
Oh, Jolt's a mixed ability dance company.
To have a better attitude and not rethinking unhealthy things that have happened to me in the past.
They are community leaders, they are community ambassadors for disability, and they are mentors for other people with disabilities. I think the real tragedy would be is if we forgot these lessons, if we forgot these stories, and if we forgot the journeys that these guys have made and the contribution that they've all made to society. And I think that work's ongoing and should never stop.
With the group itself, I would say in 3 years, I think that maybe 7 people, including me, could work on different projects through Sarah and through Chris and the council, just to name a few.